Welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfucking most, True Golfer.
And it's your favorite co-host, as a Go Offer, back at it again with another episode of the pod.
Damn, that was dramatic, nigga.
Got to be dramatic, just for the listeners, the audio people, I guess you need it more than the video, because y'all see us, but I'm trying to give y'all that extra experience.
Amen, amen. But, I mean, one thing we always have for the people is some content. I'm not sitting here posturing because I can't fix my mic. Hold on. All right, now we're
killing time. All right.
How have you been this past week, though, my boy?
This week's nothing out of the ordinary has happened, so it's going to be a short roundup for me. But, I've kind of been faced with a lot of deeper questions on my own tip because I've realized, again, just a moment of vulnerability for the pod that I don't ever give, apparently, compared to Chuka's soft-ass nigga. You feel me? No, I'm just kidding. We're all about embracing our emotions, but I'm just somebody who generally isn't the most, I would say, okay.
Who's soft, nigga?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. He listens to EST Gee. He ain't soft.
Oh, y'all gonna see in a second.
Nah, but I'm just somebody who isn't generally the most, I guess, open to talk about all of my issues with people and things like that. Like, I'm not the most afraid to confront them myself. But, that's another level to, becoming the person that you want to be.
You're closed off.
Just, open up, while I'm okay with, fighting my demons, there's still a community and still loved ones around you and shit like that. So sometimes it helps to, even if they're not demons, they just could be things that you're thinking about, blah, blah, blah.
And that's something important that you said, too, that I wanted to just go ahead and clear up for people as well. It's like, Esgo is somebody that I will say is a very emotionally intelligent person. I don't think that he just lacks the tools and the wherewithal there. You can definitely, that's why sometimes people will think that if they work enough on themselves, it'll fix other issues. And I'm not saying you're one of those people, but there are other facets too. You can get so great internally when it comes to the mental stuff and then be horrible externally in a form of just expressing that mental stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's two sides to a coin.
And so, and even myself, I'm not someone who has a hard time articulating my thoughts and too much. It depends on the individuals because sometimes that's also some of the issues there too. But it's past being able to articulate what's going on inside my mind. It's having the ability to actually start that process in general, because you could feel like you know exactly what you need to say, but you're just not going to say it. There's a wall, there's something hindering that. So I've been working on kind of breaking down those walls. You see what we're doing here? I've been working on tearing down those walls and kind of, getting into my bag to become the best version of myself, because
that Duffy nigga.
We're saying, every day is an upgrading process, and even if it's 1% better every day, which it's never 1%, it might be 0.01%, but even if it's that minimal of an upgrade every day.
Niggas be saying 1% every day, bro. Think about how far you would be by the end of the year.
You know what I'm saying? That's cap, but it's all right. It's all right. That's what you got to tell yourself to believe it. I know mine's happening at a much slower progression, but I'm okay with that because, again, I'm trying to be better every day. So
Amen.
That's kind of where my week's been, on just doing better in that front.
Amen, amen. And
how's your week been, my boy?
In all honesty, I've had a pretty outstanding week. Mm-hmm. From most of...
Don't let him lie. Look, don't let him lie to y'all. Look, he's going to say, oh, I've had an outstanding week. He's going to be modest. He's up.
No,
and when it's up, it's stuck.
I appreciate my dog, but I have a couple things in the works, so we'll definitely keep those under wraps. But shouts out to the gang, and shouts out to people that believed in me. You know what I'm saying? Believed in me, even though it may not seem that I have the proper certifications, as one would say, in certain avenues, and still trusting ideas, trusting creativity, and wanting to work with you. So, I mean, that definitely fills my heart up and makes me happy. But beyond those opportunities, there's a couple companies that I've always dreamed of working with that I've got news within the last week or so may be as excited to work with me in a different capacity, of course, but like we've talked about, anything you can do towards your dreams is always a right step. So, I mean, if you become the person, let's just use the name of a company, if you wanted to always collab with Spotify, right, or collab with a Netflix or something like that, and then you get let in as an intern, or you get let in working in the financial offices, but you knew one day you wanted your podcast to maybe be featured, or your this to maybe be featured, mm-hmm. or you to maybe be able to work with them. If you gain enough leverage in the time that you worked in those companies, you learn their systems, you learn the people that actually matter, because that'd be the funniest thing. And since I've been diving in deeper in this entertainment world, I've realized that your point of contact a lot of the times can make or break things happening for you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times motherfuckers think, sorry, I'm trying to make this more kid friendly. People think that you have to have a certain point of contact. But one of the craziest things, just if we wanted to use music examples, like I've seen friends like get crazy placements by hitting up like someone's tour DJ or hitting up
the janitor who works
like,
in this.
You know what I'm saying? Like someone
like you would never expect.
Like one of the homies that is in the music industry but doesn't really do anything, is just kind of around, you know, like just hitting random people up. They didn't necessarily hit up the manager or hit up the actual artist, and then you can get things into people's hands. So I mean, I'm somebody that feels like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to become the person I say I am, and so that's just a story that's unfolding. Thank God every day.
It's nice because I want you to. I like how you said you're gonna do whatever it takes to, you know, essentially accomplish your dreams and just do the things that you've been saying. But it's not even you're gonna do what you say to be the person that you say you are. It's you're writing the story that shows that you're the person that you say you are. Because
Amen.
It's like when people say, for instance, that really do put in the time with like the acting shit, you know, and they might not have like a million roles or might not be Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, or fucking Denzel Washington. But at the end of the day, they're still an actor. You can't say like I'm trying to be, or I'm like part-time or like whatever. It's like, no, you are this. It just you haven't had the full blessings that have come from like what's big success looks like in that area, but you are still that at the end of the day. Don't ever let anyone take that away from you, because that will instill doubt that'll stop you from accomplishing those goals, you know.
110%. And to be quite honest, I'm not even going to sit here and argue it, because that's facts. And I'm happy that you pointed that out, because I want people to always believe in themselves and to always view themselves as the entities that they want to become. There are traditional means to get everything in this planet accomplished, and then there are means around it. You have to decide that if you want to do something in a non-traditional way, you realize that there's a multiplier. You realize that your path is going to be a little bit more difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible, right? Mm-hmm. And so knowing these things, like when I say for myself, because everything Ezgo said was valid, everything Ezgo said is important, so I want y'all to really internalize that. But when I say for myself, become who I've always said I was, this is for me. Though I know that I can be somebody that is on the big screen as an actor. I know that I could be somebody that writes movies too and writes TV shows. I know that I can be somebody that dabbles in music. I know I can be somebody that's a leader in the podcasting world and in the hosting space in general. And I know there's enough life on this planet for me to accomplish all of those things.
Exactly.
So I'm not ever going to let nobody make me feel like I can't do that or can't be that, especially when we have examples like Kanye. We have examples like Donald Glover. We have examples.
I mean, shit, if we're even throwing
like
it
Vince
way
Staples,
back,
if we even want to talk about it.
I'm saying
like,
even at a harder time, and like as a woman, Maya Angelou, if you really look at her catalog, she did it all. She did it all.
Everything she wanted to do. Everything she wanted to do. And I'm never going to, because the only people that tell you can't accomplish the things you want to do in life are the people that have seen the same dreams that you have, and they couldn't see themselves there themselves. And so once again, everybody's got a different story. Everybody has different desires. I know what I'm pompous enough to believe that I can do. And so moving straight on from that, you want to get into heat checks?
Man, let's go ahead and get straight into it.
So what's your heat check, my boy?
My heat check,
because y'all know what time it is when it comes to Chuka Offer, boy. Y'all know what album came out this week, boy.
Y'all know exactly who the artist he's playing is, and no disrespect to him because it's fire music at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and get straight. But my heat check this week comes from another song that I've kind of just had to tuck on like my songs, and I'm not mad at bringing it up now because I saw it only has like 50,000 plays on Spotify. So it is Temporary Amnesia by UKICO. And yeah, let's just go ahead and I'm not going to describe it too much. Let's just go ahead and play it and see what y'all think.
Like good Molly. It sounds like you really thought the same thing. This is good drugs and white people.
You know, that's not the demographic that comes to mind. Yeah.
No, I fuck with that one. I really do.
Exactly.
Really do
so that's Temporary Amnesia by UKICO. I feel like that's more vibey music, whatever. If y'all are into that, go ahead and check it out. If you're not, let's keep it pushing because you might be into the next heat check.
And for this heat check, man, First things first is I want to give a big shout out to EST Gee for dropping Bigger Than Life, the album. My bid for, I want y'all to ignore everything I've said on this podcast so far in 2021. This is so far my bid for album of the year. The only thing that I could see beating it is maybe if Drake drops, but even then, I don't know if this nigga keeping up with G right now. Don't hate me, OVO. Even though this has been the Drake pod the whole time, right?
I say, I feel like there can't be any hate when it's only singing praises on this pod. So
right.
Whoever it is for that week, you go ahead and get a shine.
Nah,
so
but
for the last few weeks, it's been EST Gee. Let's keep it rolling.
And for Bigger Than Life, I want to go ahead and say there's not one skip on this album, so it's hard for me to pick a heat check when they're all outstanding. But my heat check is going to be 5500 Degrees featuring Lil Baby, 42 Dugg, and Rylo Rodriguez. I'm going to play a little bit of the intro of the song, and that's straight up EST Gee. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to take a pause for a second. I have maybe some words, and then I'm going to play the Lil Baby piece, but I got y'all.
Energy made this one.
Know what he's about to say?
If I ain't a young shiner, then what do you call that? Fucking niggas hoes, he mad texting in all caps. Deep broad day, lay a nigga down, wave cap, overkill drill, spin at the building.
First things first is I want to ask this nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? What the fuck is wrong with you, nigga?
You got to give him a second to breathe.
No.
You're ready to
There's
talk your
no
shit.
second
you
to
gotta
breathe.
Give him a second to
what
breathe.
The fuck is wrong with you, G? Because this is one of those albums, and I know this nigga close to my age, so I don't want to act like I'm super old or none like that. It's just like, I definitely am a different stage of my life, but this is one of those albums that brings me back. At least that first line, he said, if I ain't a young shiner, then what do you call that? Fucking niggas hoes. He mad texting in all caps. Bro, that brings me right back to one of my favorite eras of toxicity in my life. I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. Because, yes, you mature and you grow up. But I hate how people nowadays want to act like all that toxic shit wasn't fun when you was out there doing it. Because it was fun as shit. You learned a lot of hard lessons, but it was fun as fuck. And so when this line came on, the first thing I thought about is, I'll give a little personal anecdote. I'm going to leave all names out. But the first scenario that got played in my head is, remember one day when I was working, and there was a little shorty. I know this is going to be, once again, this is a past life. I'm very boring and different now. But like, I remember I was working one day, and my little work wife, the girl that I was with, I may have caused the end of a relationship there to get with that person. I apologize to the man involved. It was definitely a different time in my life.
No apologies needed. If that was able to break it, you were ready for another one in general.
For sure.
That wasn't the right one.
But that's all the stuff we learn in maturity now. Like, obviously, back then, I just didn't care because the nigga was smaller than me. And so I remember, I didn't care in general, to be honest. I was definitely in a lot of precarious situations. Yeah. Nigga was definitely being young, wild, and free. But anyways, I was working one day, and I remember hearing a bunch of hustle and bustle from my coworkers. They were just like, yo, look who's at the front of the store. Oh my God. Like, is this going to be okay? What's going on? And I'm like, what's going on? This nigga pulled up to my job with two of his homies, right? Two of his homies, and their main thing, they came up huffing and puffing to the door. They came up pissed off. And this is a true story. I wish I could name certain people because y'all can verify this if y'all want. But anyways, dude came huffing and puffing to the front of my store. He walks in. He asked, like, where's Chuka, right? Because he'd heard his name was Chuka, whoever this dude was. He walked to the back, and I'm just out there smiling. Because I'd already seen dude before. He's never seen, like, a picture of me, but I already seen him before. He came in, and he saw me with both of his homies, all of them, a range of whatevers. And it could have definitely gone way left, by the way. That's why I'm not advising anybody to do no crazy shit. Niggas are really nuts. Some niggas will really kill you. But, like,
I'm saying that's never worth it.
He saw me. You could see like a scrunchel in his face for a second. He looked pissed off as shorty. And then he just walked out of the store and left. I never saw that nigga again in my life. And the first thing I thought when I heard, fucking niggas host, he mad texting in all caps. I know he was blasting that phone up though. I know he double clicked the little caps lock button and had that shit stuck. And we're just sending messages for days. But say all that to say, EST Gee is an outstanding artist. He tells beautiful stories. Beautiful storytelling, like beautiful scenario set up. He really puts you in a feeling that makes you realize that there's not one word on this album, right? From song 1, Riata Dada, to song 15, Lick Back. including the music videos, there's not one song that I don't believe a word that he's saying on here. I just want to go ahead and be clear with that. And so the second piece of the song I wanted to play, since I only played 18 seconds of it so far, was a little bit of Lil Baby's verse, because that nigga Lil Baby came on here tripping. Like, came on here on some, like, classic Wayne shit.
When I found out where you niggas hide out, one of y'all getting cut. I'm like, fine, I might come out and vibe, but one of y'all getting fucked. Gotta find this car, one of a kind, I don't slow down for much. I got 20 million cash now and still ain't near enough. I'm going too crazy. I'm the Wayne of this new generation, niggas fugazi. They can't fuck with us no type of way, these niggas too lazy.
Something about that beat is just kind of crazy. It's like, really, I feel like I'm bopping. Like I can be in the most like, oh, I'm not trying to be her mood ever, you know? Like, and then all of a sudden I hear it and it's just okay.
Nigga, that shit makes me feel like doing the little dances the niggas on TikTok are doing right now. The little smees or whatever. I don't even know what that's called, but it's like...
every bit of it as soon as I listen to the music, so it makes sense. I guess you won. Mission accomplished.
But big shouts out to G. 5500 is probably my favorite song on there, but there's a lot of like good records for anybody that hasn't dipped into his music. No Friends featuring Yo Gotti and 42 Dugg, outstanding. 42 Dugg sounds like the war horns heading into battle on 5500 for me personally. Lick Back remix, he's got Future and Thug on there. Dirk's on here. Price Tag. Really, most of the songs I like the most are just G on his dolo. Yeah. So I mean, big shouts out to EST Gee.
Yo, shouts out to him, man. Let's go ahead and just keep hoping that the music trend continues for this year, which is just quality, a lot of quantity, and just people keep dropping, because I feel like these moments we do take for granted. I'm not going to lie. I feel like 21's already kind of presented itself as another one of those 2016s, another one of, was it like 2019 or 2018-ish? I can't remember. But it was one of those years where it's just like, damn, like we're getting a fuck ton of music and people are like acting like, you know, that's not the case because we're living in it until afterwards you end up appreciating what happened. But nah, it's seeming solid. So I'm ready to just examine where this keeps going.
And I actually have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead, shoot, man.
All right. And so...
if it's got anything, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to fucking say it.
I'm not bringing back the butthole questions, I promise you.
Okay,
But it's
God.
like, my main question to you right now is... with people storytelling, right? And you want to make stories relatable. You want to talk about things that people want to hear, right? You want to talk about whatever. With that, obviously, just like in the 90s and 80s, I'm not going to act like this is a this time specific because I hate when niggas act like it's just this time, whatever. But obviously, a lot of people aren't living the things they're talking about on the music, right? They're either past stories or they're figments of their imagination, whether it be like I'm making a I'm That Nigga song, so I'm going to make all the bops about getting hoes, fucking bitches, blah, blah, blah. But then you meet niggas in real life and they're not like that, right?
Yeah.
And so my main thing to you is, does it change the authenticity or does it change the feel of songs when you feel like you can't believe the person? Not on some
look, it's just like relatability in general, because I think I see where this is going, unless like the pivot wasn't.
Oh, my main thing was, I was gonna say, like, obviously not on like some 6ix9ine shit. I know I don't want to say that nigga's name, but I'm just being honest. Where it's just like very clear and blatant. Like, that's cool. He made good music, but like we learned it wasn't real. We saw what was happening, and then niggas fell off there. Cool. But more in the sense of like, a lot of the times, and like I was saying, even with those That Nigga songs, right? Like a song that was made to boost your confidence and like make you feel good. If that is more of like a projection of how somebody wishes they felt than how they feel, right? Does that change the song feeling for you as a consumer?
Yeah. So I think it's one of two ways to take it. A lot of people are going to fake it till they make it in general. So if it's that kind of a tip to where it's not so much that's not only who they are, it's not only who they aren't, but they also don't even want to be that person. You could feel it because the authenticity is not there. But when somebody does want to be that person, and let's say they might not just be able to in their normal lives, that expression through music of them tapping into who they want to be can sound authentic, even if that's not really who they are, because that's what they're working towards day by day. And music empowers them to kind of be that individual. So it's like, okay, I may not do that, but one day I will, and I'm going to get across that feeling that I have in my heart of how I want it to be when that is accomplished for me.
I love that. I love that explanation, truly.
So I appreciate those for sure. It doesn't really take away from it because I know I can already think of certain songs off the top of my head that people have been able to accomplish that again, they weren't getting like on a lower tip. Let's be real, bro. I heard Lil Tecca talking all this stuff on some of his songs when he first blew, and that man was not doing none of it, and he knows it too. He said it was cap.
He said it was real. He said it was fake. He said it was
rap
fake.
Genius shit, he even said that's cap, but you know, it is what it is. And they kept it pushing. But on the other tip, again, when the authenticity is not there and that's not who people are, and to be honest, they're not even wanting to be that, you could just feel it. And it's not even does it take away from when you consciously think about it. It takes away from it when you're subconsciously listening to the song. Because, like, I don't believe this shit. It's like the guy who walks around, you know that meme with, I can't remember, Steve Buscemi, right?
Bro, don't tell me a fucking Steve Buscemi meme, because that man is historically one of the ugliest niggas ever.
Yeah, but okay.
Super dope dude. But
yeah.
It's just like the only reason that I've even thought about that is when you said you know that meme. The first thing I thought in my head was like, bro, don't do that to them, nigga.
Yeah, I'm not, and this isn't like a bad thing either.
What do you mean by that?
He was acting, obviously, like so. But he was essentially that older person who had a skateboard on him, like, hey, what's up, dude? It's like. And it's like, okay, Graham, it's like, we know you're not really doing this shit, you know? And that would make me feel like, look, who are you lying to? This isn't getting, whatever you're trying to sell me right now, it's not going to be received. So, yeah, otherwise, I'm all for it, man. I'm always for just authenticity in general, because that's my biggest thing. I feel like 100%. No matter what you do, even if there's like two people that rock with it, as long as you're being authentic, those two people are going to be fans for real, because it's going to be relatable.
They're going to stay with you. And just like we mentioned, dude, earlier, we saw how quickly everything turned once we realized none of it was authentic. It wasn't even like how dude wanted to be.
For Steve Buscemi?
No.
I'm just messing.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say it. I just don't even like saying the nigga's name. And then I wanted to give some honorable mention shout outs for the week, of course, just with music that came out. Big Walk Dog, a signee to the new 1017, released a single called Vert featuring Big Scar. That shit sounds crazy. Sounds like it's about to be a strip club anthem for the summer.
Can I look, before we move on or even keep going down this rabbit hole or whatever and follow on with the pod, is there just certain words for you that when you hear now, it almost takes away from what the person wants to do just because that word's directly associated with something else at this point? Like, whenever I hear Vert, I don't care if they said it just that or whatever. It's Lil Uzi.
Really?
So that's where my mind's going to go. It's hard for you to take that word away, even if it's in your name or it's in your song or whatever. Somebody says it, the recognition's gone.
You know what's nuts? Which is a super tangent, but the first thing I thought of when I heard the word Vert, because there was a super correlation as well, but it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Like,
which is also solid.
That was the first thing that instantly popped in my head whenever I hear the word Vert. It's like, all right, it's time for me to pick my boy Bob Burnquist and get to shredding. Like,
get the fucking shredding. Time to put in work. You're a little kid on the sticks, just playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Throwbacks for all those people. Hey, Tony Hawk, friend of the show, come on.
Bro, it's funny because I mentioned Pro Skater 2, I mentioned SSX Tricky and like some other game, and then one of the homies, shouts out to him, verified, like doing stuff in music, like Nigerian man as well. He instantly commented on Twitter and he was like, did all African kids grow up the same? I wonder how many African kids were really hoarded around the SSX Tricky as kids.
Bro, I swear to God, we're trying to hold it as just like it was African kids.
It was a lot of people. Don't get me wrong.
When I started to look around and like as I've been growing up and I realized just how many people played Tricky, just how many people played NBA Street, and I thought it was just us. It was like, wow, we all had the same childhood, huh? Like, go figure.
But other things that came out this week in music, there was Childish Major, an artist that I really do love. He dropped a 7-song, I don't even know if it's an album, EP, whatever the fuck.
7-song
project. And it's called Thank You, God, for It All. A great project. Young Blue dropped Moon Boy. That's his debut. And Young Blue is definitely one of the artists that has come in and kind of taken the industry by storm. And then an artist named Smiley dropped a single featuring Drake. And I'm not going to lie to you, this was one of the first times in a long time that someone dropped some music that made me want to instantly skip to the verse. But it's like, I see there's like a TikTok trend going on right now. You see me. I feel like the Steve Buscemi meme on TikTok. I feel like the old guy trying to get hip. But anyways.
I was about to say, man. I got my own opinions on it.
There was a fucking TikTok trend. a trend that is them basically doing a reaction, which is kind of having a stank face or like throwing up or looking disgusted while dude's verse is going on.
Yeah.
And then when Drake comes on, you'd be so happy and excited and dancing.
No.
And don't get me wrong, like dude was substantially worse than Drake, but that's because of the fact that Drake's at the top of the mountain. A lot of people are substantially worse than Drake. So I don't say that to take away from dude, because I had similar-ish opinions, but when you listen to music, sometimes you have to let music grow on you. I listened to that song like 2 or 3 times. Now I like the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, all jokes aside, it's just I think people like to hate as a trend because it's like popular and cool and like
Look,
funny.
people like to join in a community, and when you see a mass group of haters, people are gonna have group mentality and hop in with it. Like, I'm a hater too. And it's like, okay, look, I get how it's fun in the GM, you know what I mean? Like, you're with the homies, whatever.
Send it to the group.
Yeah, send it to the group, because these are still human beings at the end of the day. You know, that man's getting on socials like, damn, they're really not fucking with me. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like his part in the song, but I just chalked it up.
But he got a Drake verse and I don't.
Exactly. I'm gonna chalk it up like it wasn't made for me, though. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to listen to the Drake part and love it. But again, like, it might just
Drake went stupid though.
There's somebody out there who
actually,
likes
you know what? We have a podcast. You want me to at least give them a little bit, just so they can kind of hear what we're talking about and have their own opinions?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So this is Smiley Over the Top featuring.
Above are probably fucking with it, you know what I mean? Like, they're probably like, okay, maybe, you know, it just wasn't made for me. But it does remind me of, funny enough, I saw a video Mark Phillips made with the RDC World people, and I'm hoping it dropped before like that song dropped, and it wasn't like a byproduct of the song, because I'm gonna feel bad, like, damn, this guy really is probably up thinking people don't fuck with me, because it was the artist who gets a feature from Drake, and it's like, can be so bad or whatever, like, none of that. Like, the guy was in the, they were like, this just ain't even it. And then all of a sudden he's like, Drake's on a feature. He's like, Drake wants to be on mine. He's like, bro, let's leave. He's like, you still gotta do the verse. He said, why? They're not even gonna listen to me. Let's just get the Drake. And then he's like, he just Offspace starts saying, I'm a bum nigga, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This is the verse. And I was like, oh, you killed it, bro. Okay, the Drake feature. I'm like, look, like, I get it. That was hilarious, by the way. But at the end of the day, this is still a human being. So no matter what your opinions are on it, opinions for his part on it were, go ahead and tread lightly, because you might not like it, and that might be a boost for him to do better in some vein moving forward, however that is for his sound. But at the same time, don't just make it a trend to hate on the dude, because he's still, I'm imagining, a young kid who's going to have a lot more life to live. So you want them to progress into the best beings of themselves possible.
And like you said, just at a base tip, like, this guy has a Drake verse and none of us do. And so, like, taking that stance on it, it's just like, I remember clearly when Drake hopped on Tuesday, right? And I'm somebody that is from Atlanta, love Atlanta, like, whole thing, rep the city, but when Drake hopped on Tuesday, like, at that point, I'd listen to McConan's music, I'd listen to his mixtapes, I'd listen to Lucy's and like SoundCloud run. Like, McConan was making great music to me personally at that time. But I remember when people would listen to Tuesday, the club going up, like, it's a catchy song and all that, don't get me wrong, but McConan made enough of his own little splash that he got on Drake's radar, because Drake really have his ear to the ground, because he'd be hopping on songs with people that you would never expect. But people would come back and be like, well, that's the only good McConan song. That's the only good this. That's the only good that. It's like, no, there's an audience. Like, yeah, Drake does these people favors, of course, because if you're in the higher position, it's always going to be looked at as a favor. But these people are the reason that Drake is still Drake. And the reason I say that is because Drake is he's getting up there in age now when it comes to typical popularity, right? Mm-hmm. Drake he's still kept relevance, of course, because he's Drake and he drops outstanding music and he's still like one of the goats of this, of course. But the reason that, if I use like a Jay-Z, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Hove is 50 now, right? Like if you think about Hove's core fan base, it's probably like 35 to 50, like probably his age, right? And so because that was about the years, I would assume that those people were in a good place for his run, you know, like for pieces of his run at least. So maybe even older, like older than 35, but I'd say around 35. The people younger than that age, so we go into my ages, the Ezgo's ages, and the so and so on, like they don't revere Hove like they revered Hove. You know what I'm saying? But Drake is revered like Drake from like 12 to like the upper end of it. And I believe that's because of Drake keeping himself sparring with these younger acts, you know, and just like has him propel to audiences that may not be for you. You know what I'm saying? May not be for this, may not be for that. But those people, they probably were looking at him as, oh, that's one of the GOATs. That's cool. He makes great music, Drake. But my favorite artist ever is Playboi Carti. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to, I guess, position yourself for the consumer, in this case, like the music listener, in a way that's going to keep you relevant for years to come. Like going on a tangent if you're not making songs with people that they like to listen to at their age. Because I know even on an older tip, but still at the same time, I was a young man. Like not even a young man, I was a kid. So listening to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and all of a sudden I see the song, I think it was Gorgeous, and I'm seeing Kanye West and a guy by the name of Raekwon, right? So I'm like, I'm like, okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, bro. That's funny as fuck, but makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, who the fuck is this nigga? You know what I mean? Like, you weren't made for me, but I'm listening to it and I'm like, okay, like, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life. I get it.
And that's the connector to a lot of people. Exactly. That was probably the connector to a ton of people your age and below, even my age. Like I'm saying, not just my age. Saying that like I'm fucking old. Like no, it's just like at a certain age in high school, I decided I love this shit for real, and then started doing my research and history. You don't expect the masses to do that. You know what I'm saying? But it's probably made a lot of people. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that like, Raekwon feature probably made a lot of people go back and listen to 36 Chambers.
I was sitting there. I was like, because you see some of the other features and stuff, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like I know who Nicki Minaj is. You know, I know who Kid Cudi is. I know who I know who Rihanna is, but it's like, I don't know who Raekwon is, but I'm going to go and learn. So that was neat.
For sure. But moving right along, I believe that there were a couple things left in music that I thought was worth mentioning, right? Mm-hmm. One was that I wanted to give a shout out to, because we've kind of kept, because of how long this nigga taking, which we always gonna wait for greatness. But I feel like we've kind of tracked this album waiting process since the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah. There was definitely a while.
Since the beginning of the pod. Huh. No, since actually the beginning of the pod.
Wait, hold on.
No, think about it. Since the beginning of our fucking podcast, we've been waiting for Zay to drop.
Wait, because the Sunshine Radio was 2016, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, we actually been waiting for this Isaiah Rashad project since we started our podcast 3 years ago.
That's swag.
No, that's awesome for sure. I don't know what's going through his head, but apparently, like you were saying, he just dropped the track list, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if y'all can see this as an image for the YouTube viewers, but right now we're holding up an image of the track list. Or
these are the features.
The features these are the features. So
read some of the features.
I know you'll be happy to take a look at that first. If you could see that, all right, cool.
You'll be happy to read the first one.
The features on it, you know, you already know who they gotta have on there. Your boy Lil Uzi Vert, yes sir. All my friends are, and they have Duke Deuce, Smino, Cal Banks, Mindy. Well, I mean, like some of these names, it's gonna be hard. SZA, Black. Jay Worthy, J Rock,
yes, sir,
and Doichi.
I need Rock and
YG Tut. So some of these people I'm really excited to see, because I'm not too familiar with them. Some are obviously aware of because they're other members of the TDE camp, as well as just other notable artists like Lil Uzi and Smino in general, that you know them on a song with fucking Isaiah Rashad. I think the Isaiah Rashad Smino shit. Hold on for a minute. Did I hear somebody talking about they wanted to see a collaboration?
Oh,
was it you for that one, or was it a different name?
It was
because low key that's like it was Blast. Okay, I was about to say that's like who could have seen.
If I accidentally A&R'd the Isaiah Rashad Blast song, if that comes onto the album, way, like I'm about to just be like, bro, just so happy to hear it. But anyway,
it's like when you make the finals predictions, like 3 years in advance, and all of a sudden your prediction came true. That's gonna be I swear the tweet would be the picture of the pod that week. but yeah. So.
Big shouts out to Zay. Big shouts out to the whole TDE camp. Big shouts out to everybody that worked on the project or was around for the project, just because we know how much he cares about music. We know how much he cares about his music in particular. And we know how long it took to get to this point that he's releasing it. And so I'm very excited for Friday to listen to this. Y'all, I mean, if you've listened to the pod for a while, you've heard us mention Zay a bunch of times. And I'm just nothing but proud of dude. Like, that's really all I can say is how much I'm proud of him, man.
Man, the only thing I'm going to say is...
The house is burning.
I will...
July 30th, baby.
Ooh. Talk about it. I will forever be proud of Isaiah Rashad. One of the best rappers I've been blessed to hear, honestly, so far in my young adulthood and my teen years. However, is it really coming out on Friday?
Nah, he's not lying to us this time.
Is it really? Please don't get my hopes up, because I'm not gonna lie. I saw the list. They're up now.
Top wouldn't have tweeted it himself if it was a lie.
Okay. He's not pulling a Kanye.
The Grim Reaper had to let us know for real that it's coming.
As soon as you pull a Kanye, it's like, okay, I'm not waiting on it.
Speaking of pulling a Kanye though, like I wanted to talk about something historic that almost feels like, if you've listened this far and with all the music stuff we've spoken about, that you might think that we would skip something so legendary, especially being in a city like Atlanta. One, I want to say that I don't necessarily want to call it an apology, because I feel like I articulated myself well when it came to Kanye West. I feel like I said that I was skeptical, and I feel like I said that I was disappointed, of course, with certain actions, like you would be disappointed in people. I feel like my peers, you know what I'm saying, the same way. But I don't think I ever lost faith in Kanye West. And so with that being said, I want to lead with love here, because of the fact that I feel like so many people have been judging Kanye. So many people have been kind of pointing fingers at Kanye in a certain way for these past few years, that we sometimes forget that all of the things Kanye said came true. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kanye West is definitely in those names that will be regarded like a Walt Disney of our lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of those people that is he is a vision himself. Like, he carries himself like a vision, like everything that he does. You may not agree with it, you may not like everything, but you watch the benefits of it. Like, you watch all the rewards that come from it. You see everything that comes from his vision, and you can't deny results. Yeah. And 50,000 people coming to an arena for you to have a listening party
on a moment's notice
is results.
And those tickets, I'm not gonna lie, those tickets weren't cheap for all of them.
They were $100.
Exactly.
On average, about $100.
Some of them a lot more. So it was just cool to see the event come together, just to see the people come out there, and it's just the whole experience. Cause I know there's moments around it which were kind of funny. I know in typical Kanye fashion, the man kind of left the people waiting for a while. Like, all right, where the fuck is Ye? You know what I mean? Like, the clock's ticking, nigga.
He's the only nigga that can have people waiting for 2 hours for a listening party, by the way.
By the time he shows up and it gets started, it could be standing still, not doing shit. People are like, let's go. Let's go.
And obviously those are all rough cuts, because we don't have the finished... He pushed back the date, and he was mixing the project up until he went on stage.
I was about to say, don't even say rough cuts. At the time, people thought it was the finished project. I predicted.
No, we knew it wasn't the finished project, because the day of they talked about it wasn't the finished project.
Okay.
Guru tweeted out, Jay did his verse 4 hours ago.
But
how is that assuming that's a finished product?
I'm saying you know that. A lot of people might know that. But I saw a lot of people, again, it might be more casual listeners, of course. I'm not taking away from, like, the ears to the ground niggas. I know you got yours, you know.
I don't.
You got your...
I'm trying.
But I know a lot of people were really up waiting at 12, like, Donda's coming out. And I knew for a fact, as soon as Chika told me that, again, he just got a verse for the project, I was like, this album's not coming out yet, because we saw this with The Life of Pablo. We gotta wait.
This is Kanye West at the end of the day, man. He's one of the few people on the planet that is on the, if you've got the stems, they're his. You're not even gonna ask. You're not even gonna talk about them. You're not gonna touch them. He's such a perfectionist when it comes to the little nuances of this craft. The fact that he got a verse that same day should have let niggas know it was at least a week out.
I'm saying, like, you didn't see. I'm not saying trying to justify. I'm just saying, like, you gotta be honest with me though.
Oh, a lot of people were disappointed.
You didn't see those Instagram comments like, wait, I thought the album was coming out. Where's the album? Where's the
Oh,
album?
niggas were disgusted. Let's be clear.
Exactly.
95% of niggas were disgusted.
Exactly.
And that's what blows my mind. It's just, I get it. Like, there's a difference between, like, people who would consider themselves a little bit more than a casual listener and casual listeners. Because I don't think I'm, like, some hip-hop savant or anything like that. But it's like, come on now. Like I don't know. There's no way I would have ever assumed that Kanye was really giving it to us the night of his listening event, because this nigga Kanye just don't operate the same as regular people.
If he was a regular person, I'd assume he would.
If it was Kanye, nah.
You're having people listening to the album, you're assuming the album's finished.
You know what's swag? This nigga Kanye being on the ground at that thing talking about I want my family back. And Kim is right there. You know what I'm saying? Kim was there. Like, Kim was there with the kids. Obviously, they're going through a divorce. Prayers. Like, we don't know the situation with them. And obviously, I'm always going to pray for the success of people's relationships, especially when it involves children and family and all that. So this isn't a joke about that. It's just more talking about the fact that this man Kanye is with whatever. He's always with whatever.
Family
I love
back.
that.
It was nice to see certain things. And people said, because, again, with the album not being fully done, apparently that he had a space set up in Mercedes-Benz Stadium to finish the album, and so he was living there as he's been.
People say he's renting out Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Bro, the fact that
so it's done.
The thing I wouldn't say renting out, because apparently too there was like United games and stuff that were going on.
He popped out at the United game.
Again, people have seen him roaming around the United games in the same outfit he wore to the listening party. And I saw jokes in the comments on social media talking about Kanye is walking around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium like he's the Phantom of the Opera or some shit. Like,
that nigga Kanye said he's not going to shower until the album comes out.
It's crazy, man. But I love to see it because it's like, this is what you need to see from someone like Kanye. Bro, you know, random tip?
Wait, the Kanye... No, go on.
Random tip. There was a kid I went to high school with, Joey Salazar, who Kanye had a video of on Instagram, how he was following somebody with like a camera, and he's like, so what'd you think or something? And it's like, you just see this kid talking, and it was Joey Salazar. And he was like, y'all gotta listen to Donda. That song with him, crazy. That song with this, crazy. That song with this, crazy. Be on the watch for it. Donda's nuts. And it was just, felt like one of those moments. Obviously not to like the Chief Keef effect, but it felt like one of those videos. And it was just funny because it was a nigga I went to high school with.
No, that's actually cool as fuck. I didn't know that. That's badass.
So
I want to see that.
I was like, oh, hilarious.
Do you have it?
It's probably on his Instagram unless he deleted it.
If that was me, I would have saved it.
Somebody got that video.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody got that video. Somebody that knows him would have saved it.
He got that video.
Oh, bro.
The way he seemed geeked about it, he got that video.
Come on now. But Kanye is another one of those people, by the way, that has found a good way of keeping a good grasp on the youth. Because I think Kanye West is arguably just as popular with teenagers as he is with people in his marquee demographic.
Yeah. And I think we talked on that. Yeah. So that's kind of important and just cool to see from him, genuinely speaking. So whenever Donda comes out, again, I'm all the jokes aside for Isaiah Rashad, we know it's coming out soon. I'm excited for it. I'm not holding my breath on Kanye West. I'm going to enjoy Donda when it comes out. I know for a fact because I've not ever been disappointed.
It sounds like he's in his bag.
Never been disappointed. But I'm not getting my hopes up like it's Rihanna work. You know what I mean?
Like, I think I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be Kanye's best project since TLOP. And that's not that bold of a prediction because there was only Ye in the gospel album, and I think Kids See Ghosts, if Kids See Ghosts didn't come out prior.
If you're throwing those together with the collaboration, I know collaboration albums always been taken into a different vein in my own book. I know people will throw Watch the Throne and Kids See Ghosts in like a Kanye album talk, but I'm like, yeah, it's not just Kanye. So kind of hard to.
But I think this is going to be a great body of work. I think we're getting back to whatever standard that people held Kanye to musically beforehand. And so it just seems like he's really just like put his soul into this music. And I'm excited to hear it. And the fact that we heard Vori. We heard Vori on it like multiple times on that live stream. Multiple times. Like, Kanye's got some surprises for us. He got Roddy Ricch on there. Stop it, bro.
I know Kanye's got a good ear when he included Vori on the album because that's an incredible artist. If you didn't know from the time that he checks and shit like that, got to be on the lookout for it because the pandemic didn't do his last album justice. Genuinely, I think, on just what the effect it would have had on the people. So go ahead and make sure that you're all the way tuned in for what to expect on this.
And I don't even feel like talking about the DaBaby shit, to be honest. Like, I'm not even trying to promote that kind of stuff. It is what it is. All I'll say myself is I definitely feel embarrassed for them early DaBaby podcasts when Cullen and you was calling me out about being his biggest fan.
Yeah.
Let's just say that one.
For getting the shit thrown at him?
Huh?
For getting the shoe thrown at him?
There were multiple things. He brought out Tory Lanez to that concert.
Oh.
Right after Meg performed.
Yeah.
After he had his little spat with Meg or whatever on Twitter.
That's a little awkward.
He went on like a randomly homophobic rant, and then he tried to like PR cover it up this morning by saying like, man, it's not even gay because all of my gay fans, they live life at a higher standard. I was just calling out this. I'm paraphrasing. This isn't exactly what he said, but he was basically saying he wasn't being homophobic because even his gay fans are at a higher standard, which is like, bro, what standard? You're not gay. Like, what standard are you holding people to?
Yeah, hopefully, because again, I'm not the most educated on the situation and things like that. Hopefully, as a learning point here, he can just like kind of learn from this and see where he went wrong from the people around him. Hopefully, talking to him, the internet's gonna let you know what you did wrong,
which is also dangerous sometimes too. That's why I do pray for the best, like you, of course, like where we want people to just progress and get better. But sometimes, which I'm not saying this about DaBaby, I don't know this nigga, I promise you, but it's like there's a lot of instances where I feel like the internet comes in and tells these people that they're wrong in certain instances. And then because of how people kind of just disregard a lot of people's feelings with this cancel culture stuff and say like, oh, it's just them tripping on the internet with that fake cancel culture, blah, blah, blah. They just kind of go off their own tee and ignore everything where there could be a lesson buried inside of it.
And I think it's important too, because I used to have my own feelings towards like this whole world and things like that. But I feel like the more I grow as a person and the more I realize certain things, you could say some shit that normally would get you canceled, but as a collective like group of human beings who like want to uphold each other and kind of to a higher standard and kind of uplift those who have been like marginalized in general for the groups being taken advantage of, I feel like there's a moment where if addressed the right way, even if you do some really bad shit, you don't have to be canceled if you could just own up to it and accept what you did and try and move forward to be a better person. I'm not talking about giving one of those like the truth YouTube apology videos,
the little Shane Dawson's, like the tears.
You try and get yourself ready, the eyeshadow running and shit.
Like the Jeffree Star special.
Yeah. You get your little thumbnail of you crying.
David Dobrik called the same PR person.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about any of those. Because that's just embarrassing, truly.
Super embarrassing.
But if you actually handle your shit, no matter, as long as you didn't like kill somebody or something like that, a lot of times there's redemption for you, you know? And so like the people will be ready to open up with arms to embrace you back, as long as, again, you kind of listen to the general sentiment of what people are saying. But I know it's hard too, especially on the other person's end, when they've traditionally in a space that like they've been taught to ignore what people say online because it's not true, or fuck them, or like they don't know you, and to kind of, you know, block out that noise. But it's like, sometimes that noise is a warning, you know what I mean? Like sometimes they're looking out for you, you know?
Sometimes there's a lot of truth in them words.
So it's like, take that with how you will and just try and be perceptive to where you can grow as a person.
And it goes back to what you were saying initially, man. Even when it comes to just like how you ingest music, it's like being genuine can take you so far in a lot of things, so far. Like I've heard people be genuine human beings and say some racist shit, like for real, like out in real life, and then sit and have a conversation with people, right? And then their whole outlook and perspective change. These people did a 180, some racist, some homophobic, some sexist shit, whatever, because they truly didn't fucking know, you know? But then there's people that are ingenuine when it comes to it, right? And I feel like, just like you're saying, we need to pick up that same energy. And I think people need to stop wasting their energy on the ingenuine, because like you can notice when people don't mean it when they want to get better, or don't mean it in these talks, or just having these talks to argue with you, right? Mm-hmm. Or just having these talks because we're not with any type of negativity. You know, we're both here just about the advancement of our people and positivity in general, period. And so like that's all we got to offer for people as a cure to cancel culture. It's just be genuine, my nigga, and ask fucking questions if you need to learn shit.
Because I'm gonna be honest, you know, all things considered, I believe in redemption for a lot of people, but if they don't want it and they keep on doing heinous shit, some people do need to be canceled, and maybe that's the wake up call. I feel like cancel culture is just the new generation. Look, I'm gonna be honest, it's just like fucking leftovers have been rebranded as goddamn meal preps, and no one wants to accept it. Exilement has just been rebranded as cancel culture. And that's fine, because it worked in the past to some extent when people just really weren't getting the fucking memo. So if you really do get canceled, I hope you could just take that, improve as a human being, and whatever community you end up in after the fact, because you're still going to be alive, you just end up being a better person, you know? And if you got to go back to working a 9 to 5, you got to go back to working a 9 to 5.
I like what you did there, nigga. Sneaking in that leftovers comment.
Am I wrong? If y'all listen to the podcast this far, go ahead and let us know in the comments or somewhere. Tweet at us, type at us on Instagram, because I genuinely want to know. Leftovers are meal prep.
Bro, you are hilarious. He feels strongly about that one too. He feels like y'all niggas got scammed. I'm y'all niggas.
He is.
Face, bro. I hate this.
He is.
Bro. This nigga looked at me like my brother's been gone too long. But moving right along, we have a couple things sports-wise that I wanted to knock out if possible.
What do you mean, couple things? We're in a beautiful... It really is just going to be a couple. I'm just hyping it up because we're in a beautiful moment in the world. The Olympics are going on. Basketball's thriving, even though it just ended.
Like there's one thing that ends kind of like the Aaron Rodgers manhunt that we were talking about before. Rodgers has made it known by his people. So it's like people close to him, boom, boom, boom. It's not super official yet. But for those who didn't know,
they're tweeting it like it is.
Right? Everybody tweeting it now at this point. He was the number one trend in the country like today. And you know niggas don't care about, well, the only people that care about football, like we're just going crazy tweeting shit, you know? But I remember... there was like a face-off between him and the organization. It kind of seemed like he was kind of just over their shit of, you know, having arguably the best quarterback in the last 20 years or somebody that is in that conversation. And then multiple times in the first round, y'all have drafted QBs while this nigga is running for his life. I'm sorry. This man's been throwing to us for a big chunk of his career. He's lucky he has Devontae Adams now. Don't get me wrong. Like, killer. But
no, they should have. They should have traded Aaron Rodgers for a solid team's whole offensive line, because that's the kind of quality they needed to give to revamp their shit. It's just been so boo-boo.
Bro, the things we've been seeing Rodgers do at a high clip, though. Yeah. But anyways, and so it seems like he's going to come back and basically have his last dance, his last year with the Packers. And it seems like from those same sources that it is explicitly known that this is his last season with the Packers. If that means that the rumors that he may retire are true, doesn't seem like he's one of those people that's going to retire in his 30s for football. Or if it seems like he's going to be going to another team, like a lot of noise has been being made about the Broncos, probably or possibly. Who knows? But definitely wanted to just go ahead and break that because that's something we did talk about on the podcast prior.
It feels like, from what I saw on him personally beforehand, and I could be so far wrong because, again, football isn't my first sport of choice, so I'm not the biggest expert. Mm-hmm. But I feel like after this year, if there's not like a clear positioning for him on a team that he can maybe win something to add to his career as like a competitor, that to strive for that goal that he never got, you know what I mean, in certain realms.
He got a Super Bowl.
But I'm okay. But I feel like there's still some shit that's left undone for him.
Oh, for sure. He wants more.
There's a lot left
he's sick.
for him undone. For his quality of player, I feel like his end game result of like his career is not going to look like it should compared to others.
You know what's disgusting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's him and Brady playing that little celebrity golf tournament every single year. Mm-hmm. And I know the fact that Brady has 7 of them and he has 1. I know that he'd be sick to his stomach when Brady wins the golf tournament too. He'd be looking disgusted. He'd be looking disgusted.
I think it was after one of these golf tournaments, funny enough, though, that they were talking to him. And it was just like some things he was talking about, I think about like, again, I don't want to misquote him or anything, but his conversations with family and like the effects that football has had on him and his health, like headspace and everything, just health in general when it comes to brain and things like that, and like little things with like his memory and shit. And I don't want to go too much in because I don't want to like misquote or like again get portrayed the wrong way. That I would not be surprised that if after this year and there's no clear opportunity on a team for him, you know, to like win something like again right now, he just says, "Oh fuck it, I'm out of here."
Because there were rumblings of him retiring if the Packers didn't give him what he wanted this season.
Because he's got a whole family to like and a whole life after football that I'm sure he's at the point now where he's thinking about. It's like, okay, like, you know, I've had a great career. Because at the end of the day, he still had a fucking outstanding career. It could have been better for who he is, but that's just a testament to who he is. But it's just like he's getting to the point where he's probably realizing what he can do life after football and the implications his career is going to have on his health and his ability to do these things. So I wouldn't be surprised.
And something else that I had sports-wise was moving into the Olympics, right? And with the Olympics, we saw a lot of cool stuff. Like I was seeing some of the sharpshooting events. I was seeing some of the, I believe that I watched the skateboarding. That was really, really
First
cool.
year skateboarding is in the Olympics.
That was really cool.
A tremendous step in the right direction for just bringing cool shit to the Olympics, because that's not one you got to complain about being there.
Can't complain, bro. And so shouts out to them with skateboarding.
Did you see the Japanese are like killing it?
Murdering.
The Japanese low-key got you see like the little Twitter videos of like Japanese people on longboards and skateboards and shit.
No, now I understand.
And so you're kind of tapped in a little bit.
It.
I see it though, because they got like 13. First off, the women's portion of this shit is kind of insane, because they got like 13-year-old kids who are just like really in that shit.
Killing, shredding, as they say.
I don't even know if they say that anymore, low key. So I'm not gonna say shredding, but fucking shredding,
Bruh, no, it's nuts to see. But one thing that I think that since we still have so many events to go, of course, it's the Olympics. One thing that I wanted to spend some time on here, only because of a Kobe video that I watched today, which was a reminder, to be completely honest. It was about the Olympics with the basketball team. But I wanted to give a message with the basketball team before even getting into them, right? The message is that Kobe warned y'all niggas. Point blank period. Kobe warned y'all niggas. A couple years ago, Kobe had a video for the FIBA World Cup, right? And with that video, he basically was bigging up the countries that were on his radar, like, because he paid a lot of attention to international basketball. He said something about France. He said something about Australia. He said something about Spain. He's talking about all these countries, talking about them being killers, like, oh, it's on their way, like just talking about all the positives of their game, right? And then
people think it's just Kobe showing love.
And then he gets to the USA with the last 2 seconds of the video, because he says all these positive things about all these other countries, right? And then USA, he said, don't get comfortable. And I'm not gonna lie, that video kind of gave me chills due to like what we're watching now, because it's not necessarily, because I think that yes, some of the players are complaining, right? There are rumblings of some of the players complaining about Pop system, saying that the Spurs system doesn't work in the international play and yada, yada, yada. One, let me go ahead and be clear, Kevin Durant or like Damian Lillard or any of these huge players. Like, I understand like these are great team athletes and team guys, and I don't know if they're actually saying these things. So once again, but I mean, I feel like if KD decided, hey, I'm about to go ISO and drop 30 points on these niggas like Kobe did to win the gold medal one of those games, I don't think that Pop's going to be sitting there boo-hooing watching buckets go in. So
I don't think these players are even saying.
So I don't think they're actually complaining. That just sounds weird to even hear.
Because some of these complaints that people will be talking about, and like a lot of the stuff I hear around the U.S. men's basketball teams kind of feels a little like fraudulent, because KD will come out so often, like, where are y'all pulling these quotes from? Because it's like half this shit that he really never said.
Bro, him on Twitter inside of inside of that little voice chat, basically telling niggas that, bro, I really saw sports Twitter in real life when KD was in those chat rooms.
Oh, for sure.
Because KD was in that chat room, and there were people in there arguing with Kevin Durant about his own opinion.
And he's like, what are you talking about?
That's his opinion.
And it's crazy. It's like, look, I've seen the Pop shit, even because you have standout players like a Kawhi, who played for the Spurs at a point. You have like these other guys who, Tim Duncan randomly needs to pop off. If Tony Parker randomly had moments where he was just dropping like the 30-point game on you type shit, the Ginobili. It's like, look, he has like this system play for like his team, but he was never the kind of person that was like, one guy's going crazy, I'm gonna limit that. It
didn't seem like he took it away from the hot hand, right? Like, I don't know if it's just revisionist history, but I don't think I saw that while watching.
That's hard to believe, man. That's hard to fucking believe.
And so, like, the main thing with that, dude, is for me, I take pride in it. Like, as an American, it's weird to see. But as a Nigerian, right, and somebody that is a part of the international world and the international culture, this is what niggas have been telling y'all for years in other aspects and avenues. Because even Patrick Ewing, he came out with a quote. He said that a lot of players were aspiring to be on the USA team because of his team, like the dream team, right? But he said a lot of them don't realize that the world's caught up. Like it's 2021 now. It's not 2000 and it's not the 2000. It's not 2008 like when Kobe killed. It's not those years where it feels like we have the Monstars come and just shit on all of these niggas because we're just clearly better than them. These are people that care about the sport too. We talk about it in sports. We talk about it in music. We talk about it in regular life. We talk about it in infrastructure. We talk about it in all these things. Like America, y'all think y'all are way more ahead than you actually are from the rest of the world in a lot of these avenues. And I think y'all are starting to realize that.
It's easy to get complacent, man. I want to give like a personal testimony because obviously, you're watching this podcast and you're not watching me play basketball. So obviously, certain things didn't go as planned. But but I remember vividly. It was me in 7th grade, right? So this is 2008, 2009, right? And I remember on ride home from school type thing, or like, it might just be back home in general. I'm talking to my dad and I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna play for the Nigerian Olympic team in basketball one day, and just like so wholeheartedly meant it, right? But like me, little like American kid who's also Nigerian, but knows like again like there's dual citizenships there, right? So I could be eligible for both. It was like, no, I know which team I'm going to want to represent because I know, like, at the end of the day, which one's going to be true to my heart on that and which one, in my mind, was going to be easier to get, It's like, I seen, like, the Kobe shit. That was that year, you know what I mean? Like, that American team is tough to make regardless of who you are. So I was like, I'm going to play for Nigeria, and I'm just going to show people that, like, there's people who are in America that can go back and play for these countries that are really like to hoop and have been around it since they were kids. Obviously, I'm not in a position to do that. But there's a lot of people on that team who eerily were in the same exact position and are proving the same thing. It's like, yeah, these are people from these countries, but there are a lot of them are like American transplants, right? So like they'll have been in these systems playing AAU since they were a kid, going to play college ball here, blah, 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 playing in the NBA. And then all of a sudden time for the Olympics rolls around. You're looking around at the American facilities like, where the fuck are these niggas? Oh shit, he's lined up against me. It's like, why? What did you think was about to happen? That he's gonna give you buckets. So it's nice to see, man.
And we saw another thing actually that Kobe said, which is just spurred off of what you were talking about. Is Kobe was talking about how growing up before he came back and he was playing in Italy, right? And he said that gave him the biggest advantage, period, playing in America, in the American system. And that's because he watched, it was like military basically when it came to fundamentals over there.
Exactly.
Like that's all they did all the time. He said they would scrimmage like one day a week, maybe, if they were lucky. But over here, you were playing full games all the time because we cared more about the ISO game over here. We care more about you being able to kill the dude in front of you, right? And then working systems around being able to kill the dude in front of you. And that's why the USA and that's only become more and more prevalent as years and years go by. And so that's why the USA was able to play France. Mind you, there's something to say about that because me included, because of my jokes. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not vindicated for it. But it's like everybody in the world made fun of Rudy Gobert, right? The USA, with our best players, played against Rudy Gobert and like Evan Fournier and like the rest of the French team. Guess which team won? Fournier said something along the lines of, like, he plays in a system in America. Like over here, he was just able to just kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, so of course he was able to get his little 28.
It's like, look, these are NBA players.
These are NBA players. These are professional basketball players.
We saw what Brook Lopez was able to accomplish when they let him just do his thing. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, each one of these guys are not as far apart from each other as we like to believe, So it's like seeing someone like a Fournier be able not to just be that role guy and be able to just step into who he is and have the 28 piece, and all of a sudden you see Dame Lillard in the background of the picture just like, this nigga, really? It's like, nah, Dame, it is that nigga, and he is that nigga.
Because we're in America in a system where that if you get deemed a role player early, right? Like in a lot of international basketball, these players aren't having crazy averages for points. I won't say international, I'll say European basketball, because I know in China sometimes we see nuts numbers. But it's like in European basketball, a lot of the times, like they talk about Pau Gasol like a savior, a superhero, blah, blah, blah. And you look at Pau Gasol's games, and I'm not saying he wasn't, because Pau Gasol is a demon. Like that man is still playing international basketball in his 40s, bro. But like Pau Gasol you're looking at some of these games where they were winning gold medals and they're talking about Powell carried the team. Powell did this. He had like 27. He had like 22. Like these are leagues where people are used to scoring like 10 to 15 points because everybody scores like 10 to 15 points. You know what I'm saying? Because it's super team basketball.
Exactly.
And so like an Evan Fournier comes over here and then we rely on him for 10 points. He's just going to give you 10 points. But if you put him in a system that was like, hey, we need you to take 15 shots per game, he may average these 20 something points like these other niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like we shouldn't discredit NBA players
at all, man. And that physicality is different for the Olympic shit. So I'm just happy to see that.
But now that we've talked about so much positive basketball stuff, did you see the Pelicans trade?
Man, I don't want to say fuck.
Because I was gonna say, if like, I want to speak negative. No,
I'm not speaking negatively because this is a good trade. It's just like I get tired of seeing the trade stuff around the Pelicans as a fan because it hasn't translated to shit yet. But it's important because I know obviously you can't leave it as is. All respect to Steven Adams and the kind of career he's had. All respect to Eric Bledsoe and the fact that I think he's going to go to another team, of which he is. He's going to be on the Grizzlies and he's going to be a solid player for them. Or if that's not the team, he might land on somewhere else and then that might just be his redemption arc. But on the Pelicans and for the moves that we needed to make, and those were the two that we brought over, that was a bad decision. So I'm happy to see them shipped off. I'm happy to see the cap space cleared up. I'm happy to see Valanciunas come over, who is a legitimate big man who could also shoot threes, and he is not timid. He's going to give you that work. He apparently is the 5th highest scoring player, center, I think, in the paint.
Oh, he's a dog. He's
shooting 35% from three. Crazy guy. Plus, is the space cleared up for Zion down low, and the cap space to bring another star or potentially do what Lonzo's been asking for. Which, to be fair, I think it's worth it at this point, and just give him the max. We can start to work some of these other things in the play that can give the Pelicans a legitimate run at least the playoffs, man.
You know, all of this you said, right? And this is something that I agree with, too, because this seems like the right thing to do. But my prediction is these niggas cleared up the cap space so that they had room to give Lonzo the max or something near-ish it for a team that actually values Lonzo at a max player. Because of the restricted free agency, they'd be able to max for max and do a sign and trade. Like, I think they're going to give him money just to trade him.
That would be, it'd be sad to see. And I don't, because I feel like the Pelicans would do some corny shit like that and then bring like a Kyle Lowry over, which no disrespect to Kyle Lowry. NBA champion. I think that's what it's looking like. And if that's the case, it's like, bro, what's he about to do? You know what I mean? Like,
what do you mean by that?
We're already struggling to score, and like not saying that Kyle Lowry can't give you buckets, but that's not the move to make.
Everything in the locker room we need. Let's be clear, because I want us to not like to sully his name, and I know you're not trying to sully his name. Everything in the locker room we need. Kyle Lowry is all of it and more. But the only thing is he's aging. He's aging now. I was about to
say, bro, sign somebody on a veteran minimum to give you that locker room shit, and then get somebody who can consistently give you 20 something plus per game if you're going to get rid of Lonzo. And then on top of that, be able to, again, facilitate if you're getting rid of Lonzo. And the BI situation is just tough because he's a dog. He's somebody who, no matter where he ends up, is going to be a scoring.
Did you see he said he's open to go to Miami or some shit like that?
Bro, I'm open to it too. And that's not taken away from his game. It just doesn't feel like him and Zion mesh. It doesn't feel like it's going to. And I feel like he needs to move to another team for his career to thrive the way it needs to. And also for the Pelicans to bring in somebody more space for something to happen too.
Are they doing all of this? Getting BI off, trying to get Zoe off so that we can bring Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan to the Pels? I'm not going to lie to you. Whoever cares about basketball enough to like stamp that, if that's what ends up happening, I love both of those players because I never want to see black men lose. So let me just go ahead and say that clearly. But that being said, I would throw up as a Pelicans fan. I would throw up because I'm not going to lie. Like, that seems like what's going on right now.
How old is DeMar? Like 29?
DeMar DeRozan?
Maybe about to be 30?
DeMar DeRozan, I think, is a bit older than that. I think DeMar DeRozan...
He can't be older than about there, like around a year or give or take around 30.
He's 31.
Yeah, so he's 31. So, yeah, that's tough, man. I need to see some young people.
Lowry's 35, and he's looking for 30. He's looking for 90 in 3 years.
Yeah, I need to see the young mid-20s player come to Bradley Beal. He said if Russell Westbrook gets traded, then he's looking out, apparently. That's what they get reporting. So you never know if he actually said that, because I'm not going to lie. I've learned one thing from Twitter. They lie on a lot of these niggas.
He lied!
Liars! But I don't know. The basketball world is just so interesting in like this time.
See, this is when we're getting into the basketball drama. We're getting into the basketball reality show, and I love it. Like, whenever we get nearest the trade point of the summer, it's like, it's time. But with that being said,
I did want to give props to somebody.
Go hard.
I know we should have mentioned earlier in the Olympics portion of this podcast, but there was an individual, a woman, who did a weightlifting competition for the 55 kilogram portion of the Olympics for the Philippines, and her last name is Diaz. I'm forgetting her first name, forgive me, but apparently she just brought home the Philippines' first ever gold medal.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. That's cool.
Shout out to her, because I'm not gonna lie, it's really cool to see someone that was like, damn, this was the first, you know what I mean? Like, and not like a diss to them or anything. It's like, yo, to be that person.
No.
Imagine being that person in your country. I'm the first gold medal to ever come our way. Gonna feel the humility that she must be feeling to have done that and competed against athletes from across the world with much better facilities than her, because they showed where she's been training.
Hidden Diaz. I only say that because with props that we're giving her, I definitely wanted to not miss her name. So thank you for even saying Diaz, because that's how I found it so quick. But Hidden Diaz. And I saw the facility she was training in. Like, it wasn't. It was really just some like, this is all right, but like, you know, it was the hard work that got her to where she's supposed to be, essentially. And so that's beautiful to see. So shouts out to her. Oh, that's fucking awesome, man. Like, super shouts out to her. And another person that another thing that I wanted to shout out, just as like an end to the podcast, because I love my people, is I'm not going to say anything about certain stereotypes that people like to bring up. I'm not going to say anything about whatever's when it comes to Nigerian men and Nigerian people. All I'm saying is, if you love the crack that is Love Island, a Love Island Nigeria is coming out. And let me just say, as a Nigerian man, this is going to be the best season of Love Island, period. Like, ever created. Like, very, very, very much the best season, period. Wow. I can't wait to watch that one.
Do you think they were really posted on Twitter and they were seeing all the memes about Nigerian men? They're like, we need a Nigerian.
Oh, no, for sure. They were like, yup.
It's happening.
They're like, we got to get somebody to tell them they love somebody in 30 seconds of meeting them.
Say they love them, then show them exactly why they don't. Not that doesn't reflect me or Chuka, though. For sure. It doesn't reflect us, because
I'm not going to lie to you. Like, sometimes I see those stereotypes and they hurt my feelings because Nigerian men are perfect.
I don't know when we've done wrong. And so to really have these gross stereotypes try and make a portrayal of who we are deep inside, I just can't always get behind it, you know. But I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch for sure.
And they don't make me feel good when I read them.
Because, you know, I'm a sweetheart.
And my feelings are fragile. But with that being said,
this is the Offspace.
Space. My name is Chuka.
My name is Ezigo.
And this is the Offspace.
Space.
Space.
All right, that was the second time. We're out.